Hello and welcome to another top grades made easy video with poetry comparisons. The key thing is to understand the poet's purpose. Let's get started. Next we have Checking Out My History. This is, as you've seen, a really cracking poem to use because it does have a really defined form and structure and will enable you to get the top grades. The purpose? Well, to show the corrupt power of British and French imperialism, to celebrate education and bring to light forgotten history. The whole point of this poem is about the history that we should be taught, and it's passionate about giving people the right education in order to change lives. It's to show how political power can be resisted by the oppressed. That's the voice of the speaker, calling on other people like him from the same Afro-Caribbean heritage to rise up against the oppression of the one-sided Eurocentric history they've been taught and learn the true facts of their origins and the history of black people and African people in the past. To celebrate poetry as a form of protest and a way to acquire political power or gain social change, because it's also written for the white audience, if you like, in Britain, to get us to change our views about the immigrant population that we have welcomed into our country, but not fully welcomed through our education system. And then finally to explore the immigrant experience and ask for greater acceptance. Well, there are lots of poems that compares to. Remains gives us a very small one, so I'm going to ignore it. London, interestingly, gives us a lot. So this is a poem about the problems of society, and those problems are also caused by those in power. In this case, the church, the king and parliament. Well, we could argue that's very close to the people who wield power in the wider sense with education, and also historically it would have been the church and the king that wielded power when Britain was an imperialist country, to show the damaging effects on society when it exploits its children. And that's a direct link here through education. It's when people are children that they are given the wrong history, and it's when their identity is set. Now, obviously, I love this one as a comparison because it's short, and as you know, it is written pre-1918, so you can always talk about the structure and form. So that's my go-to comparison. However, Emigre also works super well because it explores the difficulties faced by migrants in a different culture. They're fleeing a corrupt political system, and these were rebelling against political systems, many of the people in Checking Out My History. And we've got this idea of leaving one country and settling in another, which of course is the narrative of the poet. That's exactly what he's done. And again, to show how a lone voice can try to achieve political change. That links directly to checking out me history. It's me, I'm checking out my identity, as he says at the end. And then more things from Emigre to show how the past is reinterpreted and how memory is precious. That's exactly what this is about. It's reinterpreting the past and showing it to us in a different light. Although it doesn't change the facts to falsehoods, but it does change the facts in Checking Out My History because it gives us new facts, ones that we didn't know, which somehow now become more important. And again, it shows how the oppressed can resist tyrannical power, just as she does at the end of her poem and he does at the end of his. So this is a really, really strong comparison. Now, because I can already talk about the structure and form of this poem, I can afford to compare it to Emigre if I want to. Yeah, I definitely need that with one poem. I'm still personally going to play safe because London has a much more visible form and structure I can write about. But as you can see, there are so many points we could make comparing it to Emigre that, to be honest, you'd probably write just as brilliant an essay comparing it that way. And if you'd like to see some essays comparing poems, check out the video appearing on the left, and on the right, videos showing you how to use the FOSS method, which gets you the top grade every time.